Jason, good morning. Welcome in on a Football Friday. You want to tell me about KCB roofing? Residential roofing, KCB?
Well, we know that it's getting into winter storm season.
Right.
Everybody knows that.
Right.
And you have no idea if your roof is healthy or not, and if your family's in danger if you don't get it checked out. So you have to call KCB Roofing and Construction. That's Keith Brown, Ryan Lloyd, KCB Roofing and Construction. Make sure your family's safe. Make sure you're good to go for winter storms. And then you got, hurricane season is quickly approaching.
Tornadoes,
hail.
You had hail damage, KCB Residential Roofing.
Exactly.
Keith Brown. All right. ESPN 105.9 The Zone, the Out of Bounds Show. It's a Football Friday brought to you by Boar's Head Bacon and Key City, Mississippi Queen Blondale. Key City, Mississippi Queen. Isn't that a cool name?
Yeah. And then they have another beer, Mr. Sippy. I mean, these guys are, and then the can art.
Yeah.
Come on.
We've got it over there.
Yeah, the Mississippi Queen, they have a black currant sour.
Yeah.
That has super cool art on it. The Death on Two Legs.
You love that IPA, Death on Two Legs.
I mean, that's the one that
Key City.
So the two guys were describing to us how they came up with some of the can art. And the Death on Two Legs is they took the leg from the Christmas Story and put it on the Grim Reaper. So it's the Grim Reaper wearing like leggings or tights.
Man.
It's just so wacky. It's so cool.
And is it Jack Bourgeois?
Yes.
What a name.
Come on.
So he's there. He's the head of sales for Key City and out of Vicksburg. He's been in the studio. He's, depending on my schedule, I think I'm out twice next week. Not off the air, but on the road. He's going to come in studio and hang out with us. It's a good time. NFL. We want you to have like NFL beer, so Stella Artois or Key City, Mississippi Queen Blondale. If you had to say something to Quinshon Judkins right now, as an Ole Miss fan, Jason, what would you say? You did acknowledge, and I think this is good because a lot of people are like off their rockers mad. I mean, some of the posts and tweets. I mean, and again, the way that Ole Miss was able to, get on the same page in minutes. I mean, the talking points, everybody adopted them in like 10 minutes. It's incredible. What would you say to Quinshon Judkins if he came in the next break and wanted to hang out?
I'd say thank you for being a beast. I don't know anything behind the curtains, but I hope the best for you. I hope you go out. I hope you get the money that you want. I hope there's a team that wants to give you that much money. And then I hope you succeed later on in life. I'm not, just because a player
You're
leaves,
not as vindictive as some of these people.
I mean, and then I see half and half. Like, a lot of people my age, I feel like a lot of the Twitter warriors are...
Keyboard cowboys?
Yes, exactly. Are on there saying, good riddance, blah, blah, you were a cancer anyways,
right,
and stuff. And then there's people my age that are like, oh, no, and posting, with the little, tear face. Or, they're going to miss him. So I see half and half. People my age realize that growing up, we knew Dexter McCluster, and he was the best running back that we had ever seen because obviously we were so young.
Right.
And as an Ole Miss fan,
so
you're like...
You hadn't had a chance, I guess, to see Deuce. You don't really probably remember Deuce playing, do you?
Mm-mm. No, but and then we remember some slumps or not having a true number one, and then there was running backs that you didn't even really appreciate that much, like Brandon Bolden, who's multi-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
and he was in Dexter McCluster's shadow because Dexter left, and he was the next guy up. So
he played as a true freshman.
He did.
He played well.
Yeah, but
he wasn't Quinshon, but that's not fair. He was still good.
Exactly. So
was he a true freshman for Houston? Not. I think so. I think that's right. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, but you got to appreciate what he's done for the school.
Yeah.
He broke some records, got a lot of publicity.
You'd eat a cheeseburger with him today?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
would you let him in the studio?
No hard feelings. Yeah, I'd let him in.
He'd probably come in if he wanted to either way.
I don't know. You haven't seen my pass blocking, but I mean, I can. He's
Could
not.
you pick up a linebacker on a blitz at fullback?
You want me to give a serious answer, or you want me to be the cocky guy that's like, Psh, come on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never had a bad play in high school?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know me? Come on. I'm still in the gym. I drink my protein. I can take on
I just
anybody.
had my athletic greens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So maybe you could stop Quinshon.
I don't think so.
You got some
I think I'd
vitamins in
probably
you.
dive at his shoelaces.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'd do? I'd say, hey, do you want a beer? Actually, he's not 21. I'd say, hey, do you want what do we have over there? Cranberry juice.
We do have some
We have-
Mississippi State cheese. I
And-
don't know if he'd go for
well,
that.
I don't know if he'd go for that.
Yeah, I don't know. But who knows? Hey, maybe State picks him up in the portal.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to pay over $1 million for a running back.
Yeah, they probably need some more defense and O linemen rather than
They picked up a wide receiver yesterday that they're very excited about.
they did. State, I mean,
Bumpus has done a hell of a job. Well, and their other people. But
yeah, but you got to give it to Levy, his staff. He knew who to keep, which was a huge thing.
It was.
I mean, who had the
Bumpus and David Turner was the key to getting the guys they've got.
Exactly.
There were others, but yeah. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Speaking of, FS1 Concepts, Jason, is this unbelievable company in Pearl. FS1 Concepts. They have PK Grills. You ever heard of those, Jason?
Yeah, those are the nice ones.
Yeah,
right?
they're nice. They're nice. So not only do they do wholesale to restaurants, hotels, and companies that now build kitchens for their employees, right? Commercial grade and so on, hunting camps, all kinds of walk-in coolers and ice machines and cool stuff. But they have super, super cool kitchen and barware for those people that we talk about that really like to get after it at home in the kitchen. And they have PK Grills at FS1 Concepts. And they've got a showroom. You can go in there and buy it. Shop today. Kitchenware, barware, very high end, or very quality. And PK Grills at FS1 Concepts over in Pearl. It's right by Puckett. Yeah, it's right by Puckett.
Oh, nice.
You know that little cut through now that they've got from Lakeland to Highway 80?
Yes.
Like you cut through to get to the Braves Stadium.
Right.
That's where they are.
It's a good location.
It is. It
And
is.
I bet people all around there are some grillers.
No doubt.
Yeah.
PK Grills powered by FS1 Concepts in Pearl. And it's really, really nice. Really, really nice place. And look, if you got a hunting camp, you need an ice machine, you need a walk-in cooler, refrigeration, anything, FS1 Concepts in Pearl. Okay, will you tell our listeners again what you cooked?
So I cooked, it's Cajun deer sausage,
Okay.
cut up into bites, wrapped in bacon,
Okay.
toothpick, broiled it, took it out, basted it with some mustard barbecue sauce, popped that sucker back in, let it cook. And then when I brought it back out, everything's crispy. Just one more little layer of the barbecue sauce in the fridge, and we're about to feast.
Okay. Did you try some?
I did.
Yeah.
I tried some last night. Got to. I mean,
yeah.
the only thing-
Was your dinner, or did you have something else?
Oh, I had something else. I had the rest of I've been like piecing out the back strap for the last 2 days.
Okay.
And so, which is, I mean, if anybody is just either giving away or selling some deer meat, let me know, because that's the first time I've ever cooked a backstrap.
Yeah.
It's delicious. I mean, I feel like a caveman eating something that, that pure in protein and that gamey. You know what I mean?
I love deer. Look, deer sausage, deer meat, venison. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you cooked for us.
I'm telling 3 days in a row. And now I am going to need a ranking once you try this. I'm going to need a 1, 2, 3 from the bacon, pepper jack, and spinach frittata. Yesterday was the club crackers with Parmesan and bacon.
Did you finish those off?
I did, of course. I finished them all before I left here.
Did you really?
Yeah.
There were like 15 of them.
Of course. Yeah, exactly.
God, you really are a human garbage disposal.
You can't put food in front of me while I'm doing something else. That's the thing. Like while I'm watching something.
Did you dip them in the comeback?
Did I dip them in the comeback?
Okay.
What kind of question is that, Bo Bounds?
did.
Of course I dipped them in the comeback.
Yeah. It was good.
That's good comeback. But I mean, They have good comeback downstairs.
Oh, Beagle Bagel does a good job.
Yeah. They have great sauce. That pesto mayo, I rant about it all the time.
You love that.
That's my stuff.
I may have to try
right
a little
there.
bit of that.
That's my stuff. Get it on
Just
the
a little bit.
I know you're a side guy, so get it on the side.
Just not even a drizzle.
Yeah.
A half a drizzle.
Just a little jazz.
Yeah.
Add a little panache.
Okay. All right. Have we flushed out this Quinshon Judkins thing? He'll be hard to replace. You can find two dudes to do it, maybe 3. The problem is late in the game, do you have a guy who can rip through, rip off a 15 to 20-yard run or 2 in the second half? Can Lane find that? Yes. Will he? I don't know. It is absolutely beyond look, I thought John nailed it on the text line. Ole Miss has the ability to have everyone in lockstep with no questions asked, and it has always been impressive. It rivals Mega. So, man, once the talking points went out, as I was looking throughout the day, it was on. And we've already seen them on the text line, which, by the way, Jason, the Ag Up Equipment text line, 601-885-3776. Okay, let's get into another discussion here. Worst job you've ever had?
Ooh, that's probably – so that's a toss-up for me. There's a couple. Whenever I was moving, my buddy and I were like moving people. And so
you were like a mover?
Yeah, summer after freshman year of college. He would say, "Hey, my family has this friend that needs us to move for them, and they'll pay us." This lady was moving out of a 2,000 square foot house into an 800 square foot apartment and wanted all of her stuff to fit in there. And it was a second story, by the way. And this lady, she was older, so she had, the big glass china cabinets she had. And so the number one is my buddy was cleaning out, and he saw a box that said Pillsbury. And I was like, what is that? Like, should we, toss it? What is that? And then he asked the lady, and she said, "Oh, that's my old dog. He's in the box."
Oh, no. He was cremated?
So she had him buried and then wanted to bring him to the new house. So put him in like a shoebox.
I would have immediately pivoted, walked straight out the door.
And brought him to the
Yep.
We had to bring him to the new house. We just set it on the floor in the living room and just let him have it.
You know how 4-year-olds are weird?
Yes.
They just say kids are funny, but they're weird.
Right. They ask you if you know their parents.
Yeah, they'll say whatever,
Yeah,
right? Which is kind of something that you would hope you keep with you. We're way too formal as we get older, right? But and then you throw in the moralist, and it just doesn't make any fun. But anyway, the point is, then when you get older like that, they get really weird. Is that fair? How old was this lady, give or take? 70?
Late 60s, early 70s.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But I think that's the worst job I had because
you were a mover.
Yes, being a mover. Because also when you carry stuff upstairs, say like a giant china cabinet.
That sounds terrible.
Or whatever. And it's pressing on, like the glass is pressing on your face. You don't know if you're about to get smashed or what.
Smashed or what?
What about you? What's the worst job you've ever had?
All right, so you have all these jobs when you're growing up, right? And we got our license earlier than you were a 16-year-old, right? I was a 15-year-old. It makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
All right. So I'd say busboy.
Busboy.
Yeah. That's not awesome.
Yeah, no, that's rough. Trash bags.
It's not awesome. Bathrooms, trash bags. It's when I knew I wasn't going to do it long and I was going to be a bartender or a waiter like within seconds.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
When,
I also had to paint an apartment building one summer. It was about 147 degrees.
Yeah.
And it was 4 stories. And that was hot. I was also umpiring at night.
Oh, you were grinding.
Yeah. Couldn't keep any weight on, which was actually good in college. But yeah, so I painted an apartment building on State Street right by Bellhaven one summer.
Man, when the air is soup and you're just boiling out there.
And even then you don't know how hot, you're still conditioned, you're still in good shape. And it was still hot.
Yeah.
And
you're just absolutely sunburnt to all get out.
And there was a penthouse on top, so it stuck up out of the building, if that makes sense.
Right, okay.
So I had to go up there and do work. That top of the roof had to be 260.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, that's what people, like, when you get older.
And there was this woman who lived in there. And so I was 21. She was probably 35, She was a little frisky. But I was always having to do stuff up there. And it was a really, really cool penthouse. But it was in June and July, my man, it's hot.
Yeah. Especially when you're younger. Older people were like, oh, you're young. Your body's able to do things.
Yeah, just pick up that cement truck and move it over here.
Yeah. Climb that tree, cut that limb down.
Right. I mean, what?
That's the only downside of being young is you're used as a utility.
Yeah, he said painting is right up there with moving. Yeah, it's not awesome. I don't, it's not something that I didn't wake up this morning thinking I wanted a bowl of chili. And I didn't wake up this morning thinking, damn, I want to paint the studio. Those are not things that I think of. I am glad that you cooked a bacon dish.
Of course.
Yeah.
Come on, it's Friday. What else are we going to do on Friday? Work?
Well, this is what I guess we're working. All right. So should we ask our listeners worst job they had and give away this unbelievable Russell's Reserve Tempercraft tumbler? It's a cold and hot. What am I trying to say?
You could say like thermos water bottle. I mean, you could put your coffee in it. You could put your water in it.
This thing's nice, man. I think this thing would retail for $40 or $50. I've got a pair of the SIP socks from Patrick Kelly.
All right.
Finch and Kelly. Let's give away a pair of those. And so that's two different prizes. And then let's add a Tito's dog toy, chewy toy to both. And an out-of-bounds hat.
Now we're talking.
Okay. We want to hear the worst job that you had growing up. And so best one or best two, you win. And whoever we pick first gets to pick whichever one they want and then go from there. Is that cool?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
All right. Worst job you had, worst job you've ever had. And if you have a bad one now, we'd love to hear it. 601-885-3776. Also, if you're going to quit your job like today or soon, let us know. We'd love to hear like kind of how you're going to do it, or if you did it recently, or if you told the boss to kiss your you-know-what, something fun like that. The Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. What'd you think about the Larry Boa interview? So Larry Boa played for the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. He played 1 year for the Mets, but he played a long time for the Phillies and the Cubs. And when I was a kid in Bellhaven in the early to mid 80s, I collected baseball cards because I could ride my bike down to Jitney 14 right by Parkins. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's where I would trade cards, and I just took people to the cleaners all the time. I couldn't help it. But I loved it. I mean, I had everybody's baseball card, Jason. Fleer, Topps, Donruss, maybe another one. I had all Larry Boa's baseball cards. And Pete Rose, and Mike Smith, and Steve Carlton. The list goes on and on. Well, Larry Boa joined us on the show yesterday, and he talked about, Jason, we knew Pete Rose was special as a player. You don't get 4,000 plus hits if you're not unbelievable 0.01%. Yeah. But the way that he described Pete Rose joining the Philadelphia Phillies and getting them over the hump, coming from the Reds and the Big Red Machine, who had already won, and getting the Phillies over the hump because of his competitive drive. I've had some cool interviews over the years. That was unbelievable. Larry Boa won a World Series as a player. He won one as a hitting coach. He was a manager for, a long time. And didn't you think that was good, Jason? I mean, him talking about Pete Rose and his approach to the game at a more rustic and rural time without all the gadgets and widgets and analytics and .com that we have today. Man, he was so far ahead of his time. Hey, you got to get in. I mean, Jason, he's telling everybody, hey, it's the third and fourth pitcher where you got to go 3 for 4, right? Because you're going to face the ace. You got to make hay. This is where we win the series over and over again, all the way through the season so that we get in the playoffs and get where we want to go. You know, and you got to work the count, work the count, work the count. The guy would grind out at bats nonstop. It didn't matter if it was June 20th or fall ball in the postseason. I thought, and he was cut 3. This should give everybody some hope. You know, maybe you're not in the right job. Maybe you're not in the job you want to be. Maybe you've just been hit in the mouth in life. This guy was cut 3 times on his high school baseball team and went on to play 16 seasons in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
We all think we faced adversity.
Yeah.
That we've been through something. That somebody has, that we've been wronged. Whatever. This guy got cut 3 times on it by his high school and comes back and goes and plays community college baseball in the late 60s. Boy, I bet that was fun. Right? I mean, you had one uniform, one crappy pair of cleats.
Middle of nowhere.
3 bats that everybody shared and a glove that you had since 9th grade. And, now travel ball, these kids, 8 years old, they've got a bag over their right shoulder. They got 3 bats in there. They're not worth a damn, and they're going to, tournament number 12 and, their cleats, $250, this, 4 different pairs of, jerseys. And I mean, this guy got cut 3 times by his high school, Larry Boa, and then played 16 years and then went on to manage and coach forever. I thought the interview was great.
Yeah. 2-time Golden Glove winner. I mean, I told my mom is a huge baseball fan. By the way, my grandfather was friends.
Did she know who he was?
Of course.
Good.
Yeah. My grandfather was friends with George Steinbrenner.
I watched him on WGN. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My grandfather was friends with George Steinbrenner.
Oh, cool.
Like in the day. And so my mom always wanted to be like one of those statisticians for baseball.
Yeah.
And so she always kept stats. She said she loved Larry Boa and the Pete Rose thing. She couldn't figure out how to get to podcasts. I had to
Did you show her?
I showed her. You got to go to Apple Podcast or Spotify. I got her Spotify account and search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds and found the Larry Boa interview.
So we have a new listener on our podcast.
We do.
I love it.
Shout out to my mom.
Go to Apple Podcast or Spotify, search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Larry Boa talks about getting cut 3 times from his high school baseball team. Going and playing junior college baseball. And then he made it. And then when Pete Rose walked into the dugout, holy Mary Olzap, game changer. He talked about playing for the Cubs. I mean, that was my time. I lived and died with the Cubs and the Braves. I had to, man. I was 10 years old. Okay? I mean, it was Sandberg on one side and Dale Murphy on the other. I told you, Tony Gwynn and the Padres ripped my heart out. Boa talks about that series in the interview. Apple Podcast or Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Go hit the podcast. Not right now. Listen to us live, then do it later. Hey, lunch today brought to you by the amazing ribs at Fleetway Market, the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt.